Germany is known for beer, meat, and cars.
Actually, Germany's known for wine, vegan restaurants, and trains.
We're talking about the top 5 unexpected things about Germany.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Alex. And we're 2 Americans who have been living in Germany for over 10 years each. And we're here to tell you what it's like to be a foreigner living in this wonderful country.
Yes, but first go ahead and hit subscribe down below if you can. And also, by the like button, a bottle of Connemara single malt. He finally saw the first Avatar.
About time.
Whew.
Come on, Connemara, like button.
A little bit behind.
A little bit behind. And today, we are talking about the 5 unexpected things in Germany that you wouldn't expect.
Lots of unexpected things that you will learn about today.
Yeah.
Because when you think of Germany and you haven't been, you think of like what you've seen in movies and on TV and all that.
Lederhosen and those big leather pants with the straps.
Sausages, beer.
Big cars, BMWs.
But that's not what we're talking about today. Now, we're going to break some of these misconceptions because there are things about Germany that it is well known for that you have probably never heard of, and things that we also didn't discover till living in Germany for a few years. So it was even surprising to us.
Yeah, and I think the number one thing on my list, at least, which I had no idea about in Germany, is when you think of wine in Europe, you think France, you think Italy, maybe a bit of Spain, but Germany's up there in wine production and in wine taste. The German wine regions here are actually fantastic. They're beautiful, and they kind of give you a little bit of Toscana right in your own home country. If you haven't checked it out, there's a few areas around Germany you can go to where you can get some delicious wine and really walk around the vineyards, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, there's a huge, if you just go along the Rhine River in middle southern Germany, almost every region there is a wine region, and every hill you'll see is just covered in vineyards. Germany is a huge producer of wine and quality wine, and something that you'll be surprised is how cheap it is. Now, I come from California. Back at home, you know, if you're getting a cheap bottle of wine, $15 is like a cheap bottle of wine, you know. Here in Germany, the standard bottle of wine that you buy is €3, €4, and it's decent wine.
And it is, if you want to get fancy, you're spending €8, €9 maybe.
But the thing is, it's hard. I've had times when it's birthdays, I'm like, oh, I'll buy, your girlfriend a bottle of wine or something. But it's like you go to stores and the most you can rustle up is a $10, $12 bottle of wine. You have to really go to a very specialty shop to get the $20, $30, $40 bottles of wine. But German wine is just that cheap, but yet good.
That's it. So if you come to Germany, you're a beer drinker, that's great. Obviously, Germany is the capital of that. But also, if you're a wine drinker, don't put it to the side. Don't think about necessarily France and Italy. Come to Germany. There's great wine here. A nice Grauburgunder will get you going.
Absolutely. Now, another thing that's going to surprise you a lot about Germany is that the capital city, Berlin, which is supposed to, represent Germany and has the seat of power. I think most people, they've seen Berlin in a movie because especially the past 20 years, it's just like anytime they show token German city, it's Berlin. Is that Berlin does not represent Germany at all. And a lot of Germans will joke that Berlin is not in Germany. It's not Germany because...
In fact, I think a lot of Germans would prefer if it was not in Germany at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's one big surprising thing about if you come to Berlin is you will not see the things that you're expecting to see. You're not going to see the people walking around in lederhosen. You're not going to see those classic German timber buildings that you think of in Bavaria. You're not going to see the rolling hills of the Alps and a lot of other kind of cultural things, stereotypes that you see in your mind, right? And another big one is the food. Berlin, especially the area I live in, has pound for pound as many vegan and vegetarian restaurants as it does meat restaurants. So there's a huge vegan scene.
Also kilo for kilo,
Oh yeah.
Because we're in Europe.
Yeah, but I'm just a little tidbit for our
little imperial.
For our little American.
Little imperial for the American friends.
American audience there, yeah.
Now, another thing about Germany, I think, this depends on maybe where you're coming from. For some people, it is seen very much as a huge car country, and it does have a large car culture, similar to the United States, but not as hardcore. But Germans do love their cars. They make some of the best cars in the world, if not the best cars in the world.
And we saw actually a few weeks ago, they released a list of car ownership, and it was something roughly 600 something plus cars for every 1,000 residents in Germany. So that means at least 1 out of every 2 people owns a car in Germany.
So it's a pretty big car culture, but it also has fantastic public transportation. We talked about this before, but it's not only in Berlin. Most major cities have great public transport, whether it's by bus or a tram or an underground or an above ground. You can get around pretty easily. And even little villages, maybe not all of them, many of them have buses that'll take you into town. Maybe they come twice a day, but they're there.
Yeah. So you think of Germany as this car culture because, of course, they make BMW, Audi, Volkswagen,
Mercedes, Porsche,
etc. The list goes on and on. But when you come to Germany, you'll see Germans love using public transportation and especially cycling. Germans love to cycle. So that might be something that surprises you when you come and visit.
I think I was pretty surprised too.
Now, the one that might really give you a kick in the teeth in terms of, I know it did when I moved here, because I had heard this myth, this story that had been spread far and wide about German efficiency. The trains are always on time. Bureaucracy happens within minutes or days. Everything's technologically advanced. Not quite once you live here.
No, not even kind of not even a little bit.
I mean, of course, better. I would say better than most countries. Yes,
sure.
Yeah.
I know it's better than Italy, for example.
Yes.
Not to shame Italy, but I've heard horror stories there. But Germany is not the efficient country that you would like to believe that it is. It's not terrible to live in, but it's something to definitely get used to and adjust to. And one of the things, great example, is the trains. So the Deutsche Bahn is a fantastic service. You can get almost anywhere in the whole country or in Europe with the Deutsche Bahn.
Just not on time.
Just not on time. If you want to be on time, don't worry with Deutsche Bahn.
Yeah, the past few years, the efficiency and the kind of on-time arrivals for Deutsche Bahn has dropped dramatically, now to the point that when a train is on time, you're surprised. It's usually about 80 to 90% of the time. When you look at a board, 89% of the trains are late. Now, maybe it's just 5 minutes, but it's usually between 5 minutes and half an hour, and then, or once in a while,
I've been 4 hours.
Your train is canceled, and you're told there's a replacement bus service.
But there is no bus.
Right. You show up to the train station, the Deutsche Bahn employees have no idea what you're talking about. So unfortunately, that's become the norm.
It's not the norm. And that's not the only thing about efficiency. Bureaucracy in Germany is a nightmare. If anyone tells you it's okay, they're liars, and don't listen to them. They're not your friend anymore. They're liars. The bureaucracy here is awful, and it's hard, and it's slow. But it does work. It does work, I have to say.
Eventually, but it is not speedy.
It's not speedy.
Whether it comes to getting your marriage certificate or applying for your visa or registering for your address, which all Germans have to do, or applying for a new phone contract. It is all very outdated. It's all very slow. A lot of it you have to call on the phone. There isn't an app for that. There's no website for that.
It's true, but if you're really into paperwork, then I think you'll be a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, a good example is at the end of July, I went for my appointment to apply for my visa, and it is now end of September, and I still haven't received said visa. It was approved. They said, it'll come in the mail. It's nearly 2 months later, and I still have not received it in the mail.
Efficiency.
We could go on and on with examples. Just trust us that anything you have to do that involves paperwork is going to involve a lot of it, and it's going to be very outdated, and there's going to be 10 times more steps than there needs to be. It's just the way, 100%. Just the way it is in Germany. So just get used to it.
Yeah, and if one more example of Germany not being efficient is construction. The greatest examples are the Berlin Airport and the Hamburg Philharmonic, where the Berlin Airport, the Ham of Berlin,
which is especially get it when you visit.
Delicious. The Berlin Airport was delayed over 10 years. It just opened up 2 years ago. It's okay.
It was set to open in 2012. And up until a week before it opened, that was the opening date. There's posters everywhere. This airport is opening. And a week before they announced, actually, we're a few years behind. And then they ended up being about 8 years behind and a couple $1 billion over budget. But
you know what we're behind on?
What's that?
Whiskey.
Whew. The service here sucks. I mean, we've been waiting a while for these whiskeys. Cheers.
Ooh, it's good.
Smoky.
So smoky. Now, another thing that's unexpected about Germany is when you think of the German people, you think of them very, buttoned up, have their glasses on, know what's going on, and they do. Don't get me wrong.
And they're known for having, that's a stereotype, is they don't have a sense of humor.
Right.
You know, they're very stern, very direct, you know.
Now that whole thing I don't agree with, but we're not touching about that. We're talking about when they unbutton themselves.
Ooh.
The Germans like to get naked.
And out in public, you know, they're not talkative like Americans are. Like a German will not walk up to a random German just to have a chat, you know,
Right.
like you would in the States. So they seem like very conservative, but they are very okay with nudity. There are nude beaches. There are nude sections of parks.
Yeah, you go to a sauna, you're gonna see, you know, some hangdangs around. It's okay. It's what they do, and they're very open about it, and they kind of destigmatize the whole thing, and it's super lovely culture, to be honest.
And I think a lot of saunas I've been to, they actually say, like, you cannot go in the sauna with a bathing suit or anything. Like,
Right.
you have to be nude, basically. Like, we need to see your junk.
Yeah, exactly. So if you see a beach that says FKK, that means Körperkultur.
Or in German, FKK.
Or FKK, which means free body culture. Free body culture.
Body culture.
Free body culture.
Sorry, he's got the Denglish going on in his brain right now.
It's hard.
Yeah.
So that means you're gonna see naked people, and don't be weird about it. Just enjoy it. It's fine.
Yeah, it could be that you're visiting Berlin, you're going through the Tiergarten, the famous big Central Park, and you just walk into a section and there's, 20 people out in a field just lying naked, or, doing chest naked or whatever, and acting like it's no big deal, because the Germans it's not.
It's not a big deal. So get over yourself.
You know what I'm not over, because we just got it, but this is the end.
It's quick.
Is this whiskey. Now, let's take one last sip since we've barely touched it.
Yeah, let's do that.
What do you think?
I like it. I give it like 5 Irish thumbs up.
Yeah, this is a great smoky whiskey. Again, the Connemara.
Connemara. Everyone, thanks so much for watching. We made it this far. You get a special thumbs up. There it is right there. And everyone else, including you too, please stay safe, stay healthy, and of course,
Stay thirsty.
Germany's best known for beer, meat, and wine.
Actually, Germany's known for beer, meat, and wine?
Nope. Now, another thing about Germans and Germany